I've never done a recording on Google, so this is new for me. I'm excited. Learning something new today. Hmm. There we
Mine
go.
says you're recording, so I'd go for it.
We're on. All right, Cornelius and team. Sorry we weren't able to connect today. I know it's late for you guys, but we did want to get some information to you. So here's the presentation we intended to give you. We're going to make it kind of quick. It covers a lot of what you're asking about, so hopefully you do find time to watch this, and everyone kind of gives their input. We're moving slowly and close to actually developing a proposal that shows you some numbers. We don't have all the information yet, so we want to make sure that we're clear on what your goals are. But anyway, let's get into what it is we're all about. Laurelyn's going to jump in a moment. Again, my name's Ernie Delgado. I'm the CEO, co-founder of the company. And as I'm sure you've heard by now, we're celebrating our 20th year as a company, which is quite an achievement in ed tech. There's not many technology companies, let alone educational technology companies, that can say that they've been around 20 years. So we're kind of proud of that. And so we announce them whenever we can. This seemed like an appropriate time. So let's move forward. We're trying to just help students prepare for the future. It's a different day and age, and the requirements to help them be successful are different. And so we help schools, we partner with them and try to find out what their vision is, their mission, where do they want their students to go, and how can we help them achieve that through technology integration and helping them really get their programs in line with the needs of their students' futures. This is me when I was a much younger man with my business partner, Rick Harrow. We co founded the company and still working together successfully. So we're very excited to have that dynamic. Now, this is a slide I really want to spend some time on with you because this kind of clearly shows where we're trying to help schools go. The curriculum that we've been talking to you about, and you did ask a question about how our program is really put together. It is curriculum, it is professional development, it is custom lesson integration. So there's three things that we do well, and they all kind of work together to achieve this. And if you look at level one, two, and three, with our 20 years of background and experience, we feel that these are the skill sets that students just should have to be successful, not just in their educational careers, middle school, high school, but on into university and in the real world. These are things that are just important to know and to have a real good understanding on. And our curriculum nails level one, two, and three out of the window, out of the park, excuse me. We do that very well. Level four, it's very dependent on the group we're working with. There's different ways we could get involved with these higher level technology areas. We do have some really strong partnerships with robotics companies. We do have some really strong partnerships with programming companies. So those two we have a really good answer for. The others, there's a lot of options. So depending where you want to go, we would develop a custom solution for you. But level one, two, and three, we pretty much have taken care of. Level five, I'm not sure you're going to be editing genes on your campuses anytime soon, but we like to talk about these exciting game changing technologies because for some of your students, these are world changing ideas that they may be involved in. So when it comes to research, understanding just what these things are as part of their vocabulary, we think it's important just to be aware. So one through three, there'll be a very solid opportunity to cover those skills. Level four, depending on the direction of your schools, we could help there. Level five, let's make sure students are aware. How do we do that? We developed a model. It's called SwimGrid, School-Wide Integration Model. It's 5 things. For you, it's going to be 4 things. uh, First and foremost, what we find is really important, and again, after 20 years of doing this, developing hundreds of technology plans for schools, we found that one of the most important foundational elements of a strong technology program is professional development. That's making sure that teachers know what these tools are and how to apply them in the classroom. And professional development for us is 3 things. It's assessment, finding out what the teachers know and don't know about technology, what their desires are, where they want to go, and really bringing in some of the desires of administration. What is the objective? what is the vision for technology at the school. That's all part of the assessment process. From there, it's training. It's small group training, large group training, grade level specific training, subject specific training, really making sure everyone understands the tools available and how to apply them in the classroom. And then three, it's ongoing support. And sometimes we get the best bang for our buck from working on an individual coaching one-on-one level, where some of your teachers maybe just don't have the opportunity in a group setting to ask the questions. When we sit down with them one-on-one, we really get a lot accomplished. So that's what PD is all about. It's a bank of hours. A lot of it is done virtually like this. Um, Dean and I were talking about the possibility with your group. Maybe we have a local, we hire and train and maintain a local presence. All of this is part of the conversation down the road, but PD is an important part. Now, I will say, and we've kind of circled in on this, our technology curriculum is really the hub of everything we do. It's a computer science curriculum, it's grade specific, it's project based. Laura Lynn's really going to dig deep into what our curriculum means and why it's important. There's a lot of technology programs, a lot of software out there. And I think you've even noticed there's not a lot of computer science curriculums that really cover technology skills the way we do. So we're proud of it. It's something we maintain and curate and update every year. We're in the middle of a great, really important update. Laura Lynn will share that with you in a little bit. And we have some really key partners that make this curriculum just really dynamic. The third part of our program is custom lesson integration. Now, what I have found is sometimes teachers, they want to do something unique, something just for their group, just for their subject, just for their grade level. Maybe they heard about it at a conference. Maybe they saw some project on Teachers Pay Teachers. For some reason, they just have this idea to create something unique and special. Well, now you have a team of instructional designers that will take that idea, do the research, and actually develop an integrated project specifically for that school, for that group of students, the technology environment, the standards that you're adhering to as an organization, and really make a custom lesson. Now, when we partner with schools, our initial um, um, objective with integration is to do 4 projects per year per grade level. So if it's a K-8 school at 9 grades, that's 36 projects per year. Most of our projects are 4-year partnerships. So that's 144 custom projects that we develop over time. And what's great is every one of these projects wasn't designed for the general educational population. They're designed specifically for your school. Sometimes if it's a regional group, we could share between schools, but they're really designed to be local, regional, and really meet the needs of your individual schools exactly. So we're excited to be able to offer that as well. Now, infrastructure optimization is where we would sell you network upgrades and provide daily IT support. I'm not going to say that's impossible to do from here, but it would be challenging. So if that's something that we work into in the future, we again try to find a local a support service for you, or again hire a local team depending on the scope of the project. Number 5 is another important part, and that's project management. Someone from our team that's just aware of all the details of the proposal, everything that we've agreed to, understands all the dynamics of what's happening there. If something falls through the cracks, they're there to catch it and fix the problem, and really to be a liaison with the school, with the administration, with the parents, and to make sure everyone's aware that we're not just another vendor, but a true partner with the school, and to be involved as much as we can. So it's a process, and it's a group of things, and obviously there's a lot of detail within each of those 5 parts, but you kind of get an idea of how we organize our thoughts. Again, we're not going to get into numbers here, but we do have a strong professional development direction. The assessment piece, as I mentioned, is really how we start the process and find out where your teachers are at. And I will say this, we've learned in 20 years, we used to do a multiple choice assessment with teachers, kind of looked like a test, and teachers didn't like that very much. So we stopped testing teachers, and it's more of a conversation we have with them. It is more of a conversation-based assessment. It is usually done through a Google form of some sort, but it gives us really good data on what teachers want to do and move forward with technology. And again, your input as an administration is also, very critical to make sure we get that going right. Um, our goal has always been to help teachers get what we call the three C's. This is the Beyond Technology three C's: confidence, competence, content. Um, be confident to take chances and try to figure this stuff out. Making mistakes is not a bad thing. That's how you learn. Competence is understanding the right tools for the job. And of course, content is having the lesson plans that help you achieve your goals by grade or subject. And our PD is done in a variety of ways. I mentioned the assessment. We do small group training. I'm not fully aware of your environment, but we do tablet training, which would be iPad or Android tablets. We do Microsoft Surface, which is the hybrid. We've worked with PCs, Macs, pretty much everything out there. We get into custom training as well. I have a lot of schools that get a new system or software that maybe we haven't used before. We'll develop the training for you and we'll deliver that. We have a team to do that. And then I mentioned the one-on-one mentoring coaching. That's really where we get a lot of bang for our buck. Our student technology curriculum, again, it's the hub. I'm going to let Lauren really talk about this. This is what she spends her days really, figuring out and updating. Lauren, I'll start with this next slide, unless you want me to move to the other three slides.
No, this is great. I wanted to touch back just quickly on one of the questions that you guys had asked is, does your curriculum stand out to be like a CTE or a CPD course? So our training pre-COVID was all in person. It wasn't a virtual training, but now with COVID happening around the world, we've all pivoted, adjusted, and as a technology company, we have really grown. So we can work with your teachers, but it's not a course online that they take. But it is a way for us to do professional development with them. So we don't have a standalone, here's just sit in front of the computer and take this course. We are interactive in all of it. So it would be a virtual training that we would do with your team of teachers for the professional development. And like Ernie says, we customize it to your needs. You guys don't need to start in on a primary school level if your teachers are advancing at a upper school level. So it'd be very personal, but it is a live training that we do. So into our curriculum. So a couple of advantages of our curriculum is your students will come out of 8th grade or whatever your middle school level is called with a pretty much life ready skills that they will have. So skills ready to go into high school, skills ready for most, humans at this point of really being able to communicate and interact. I like to talk about Bloom's taxonomy, one of the methodologies of instruction, where that highest level is to be able to create. So you've learned the information that you have and you've moved up the scale from remembering to understanding to applying to evaluating to the top is to creating. The students after each project, they have created, and they'll in fact be able to teach the teachers as well as their parents and family members. So our curriculum, Ernie, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. Let me just break it down. It is 36 weeks of every grade. You have projects. You're going to have 36 projects with every single level of education. And again, we would adapt this to your school and how your grades, your primary, middle school, high school adjust to it. Each unit has 9 projects in it. That's how we break it down. And so this is what you're seeing in front of us is what we currently have right now for the United States school year, which is generally August, September to May or June. So this is what our teachers are teaching this year. And this is a curriculum that's been built over 20 years. And as technology continues to change, we change our curriculum. And pretty much every single year, we're working on our curriculum. So you can go ahead and go to the next slide. Let's talk about what we have available for you.
I feel like I need to do a drum roll first.
Okay.
Introducing our new curriculum because this is fresh. We update our curriculum every year, so this is brand new information.
Yep. Yeah. So you're actually one of the first to see this live. So we took our curriculum and we adapted it to real world, what's happening now. And so our first unit for all of our kids, all of our students, they start with content creation, which is huge, right? with social media, with marketing, understanding graphics. And it's a really fun, engaging way to get students at the beginning of their school year engaged in technology. So I'm going to talk right now about our primary grades, the early years. I call them the littles that we have. And we've broken this up into 4 themes that we have. We call them character themes. And so each grade, for their first unit is going to be talking about being a goal getter. The second's relationship skills, making responsible choices. And at the end of the year is instilling a growth mindset. We use those themes to drive our projects, which is teaching the technology. So again, the students aren't just learning how to do bold and save or advanced levels of formatting for college level papers, but they're actually going to be able to create that and be able to teach and train others. So you're going to have your littles working on creating flyers that they could be able to create flyers for most adults at that time. So we are all in with Canva, which has been a big buzz. So canva.com has got a great education arm. It's free for schools, so we love that. And so students are learning the basics of graphic design. At this early age, it's really the basics of graphic design. The littles are actually still learning how to use a mouse or a trackpad. Their letter association, so they're learning the alphabet is one of the projects that we have, as well as creating. And then we go into coding. And this is block coding at this level. We work with code.org, as well as what's unique about our curriculum is that we're actually having the students do a programming journal. And this is unique to our company. And so the students are able to use a journal just like real coders do, but of course on the elementary level. And then we move into data science. And, the basis of data science is collecting, gathering, and then being able to visualize it and interpret it. And so the students are learning about forms, they're learning about spreadsheets, they're learning about observation skills, right? So it's computational thinking throughout that we have with all of our curriculum that we have. And then we move into the last presentation design, which is instilling, this growth mindset is our theme of the year. And this is where the kids are doing multimedia video, stop motion. They're learning about vlogging, they're learning about blogging, screencasting, a lot of how-to videos. And so at this early age, they're really just learning about slide decks and how to do a presentation. So naturally with presentations comes that public speaking skills as well. So we're having the littles get rid of that fear, turn that anxiety into excitement, and being able to present at the end of the course. I want to stop here. One of the questions that you had was, can this be integrated within the classroom? Absolutely, yes, it can be integrated within the classroom. As a teacher myself, I use a lot of these projects throughout the classroom. So you're going to have a whole set of curriculum for whether it's the littles, middle, and up, to be able for the teachers to either pull from. Of course, the way it's designed is you start from the beginning and work all the way to the end, but we can work and train with your teachers to be able to integrate this into the classroom. So as we move up to our middle primary grades, same themes that you'll see, same ideas of content creation, computer programming, data science, and presentation design, but it just gets a little more skill-wise, right? So students are learning about research and how to find real facts versus the fake media that's out there, the fake news that's out there. And we have fun projects like the escape room project. That's kind of a big thing, but really it's where that computational thinking, the creative mind, the puzzles come in. And so at the same time, students are learning how to do Canva, how to do graphic design, as well as how to do presentations. So we use a lot of Google Sheets with this. Any of our curriculum can be adapted to Apple, Microsoft, or Google. So whatever platform you're on, we can make that work. Google is our favorite right now. It was free to schools, and the way we just kind of jumped on that, and it's actually for our university system here in the United States is what the schools are using. So you will see it will grow in middle school, or this age, 3rd, 4th, and 5th is still block coding that we have. We do start in 5th grade. We can start in 5th grade with HTML. So we have that happening right now for the schools, that their kids have done a considerable amount of block coding by this time, and they've got a group that's ready. It takes a higher level of thinking and computational thinking and understanding puzzles, but it can be done, and the kids have a lot of fun with that. And then the same with spreadsheets, visualizing graphs. They're actually creating graphs, different tables, and learning how to interpret that data. And then the technology that we include in these grades here is we actually use Prezi, which is another presentation skill. And then we're just growing their presentation skills. They're making recordings. So they're recording themselves like we're doing here, and video clips, learning how to actually, break down video clips and expand it and put in transitions and that kind of stuff that we have. And then we move up into our upper grades that we have. And this is really fun because here the students, not only have they been learning all along all these years about digital citizenship and about leaving a healthy digital footprint, but now they're actually learning how to influence others to do the same. They're really growing in the power of self-discipline. And these kids start off with creating a website. So starting in sixth grade, sixth, seventh, and eighth, every year they're creating a new website. They're learning new skills. So we start off with the younger of this section creating a very safe, it's called an edu blog that we use, which is again a free technology for schools. And they're talking about the power of self-discipline. And this is a web page where they'll be uploading their schoolwork throughout the year to it. So they're presenting themselves, learning how to, leave this healthy digital footprint that is articulate, that is learning the technology skills. Then they move into the HTML and the coding, where they're actually going to be creating and coding their own web page as well. So they're going to see the difference between a template web page and then actually creating a web page, which is two really great skills for them to have. And then we move into, one of our themes. It's a big theme right now for a lot of schools, is caring for the earth. And so they're actually going to be collecting data on water, on electricity, and which is kind of cool. They're going to be able to see how much water and electricity they use, and calculate them versus their peers, and create graphs on it, be able to visualize that. And then they move into their videoing and vlogging and blogging, talking about their day. Seventh grade is all about influencers. Everybody wants to be an influencer now, right? So it's just a fun topic that we have for, again, kids, and we've themed it around overcoming stress, turning your anxiety into excitement. And so they're researching, they're finding what the science is behind it. All of these skills in this area is really learning how to find reliable research that's actually been done, because that's a skill that they're going to need in high school for sure. Again, so for this year coming up, our sixth, seventh, and eighth will all be doing HTML. And then the next year, we will introduce a new coding, and then the third year, another coding. So by 3 years' time, we will have 3 coding curriculums being run at one time. And then we also have the ability to have a semester-long coding. And again, we have partnered with a company called CodeStop, which is fantastic. They are teaching coders around the world how to code, and they've just come to us, actually. And so we are creating our curriculum themes around it. And again, the kids are having an actual journal that they're journaling. We introduced this little duck, which, if you know anything about coding, it's how they actually help work through problems by visualizing and talking with this duck. Little rubber ducky story is what it is. And so we have that going in there. And then we're just continuing to grow on their spreadsheets, their tables, their graphics. As you know, there are so many skills to learn within those areas. So starting from kindergartners, where you're pretty much learning about columns and rows, all the way to now you're creating pivot tables and graphs and visualizing the information, the data that you've gathered. And then we end the year again with that presentation, where they're going to be presenting what they've been doing all year long, their web pages, what they've learned. And seventh grade, we've got this idea of, with TED Talks, the ideas we're sharing. So that's what they'll be working on, that project. And then the power of yet. So when they leave this section of the curriculum for their break that they have, it's okay, what's next? What's next? What kind of person and human am I going to become and grow into for this next section of my education? So that is our curriculum in a nutshell. And one of your questions was, what's the advantages of implementing this in the modern day schools, and how can it be useful in colleges and future work life of students? Well, one of the advantages of implementing this is your students are going to know how to do docs, sheets, and presentations. They're going to be able to know all of that, forms, be able to gather information. So the technology that is used every day in the work field, your students are going to know. Many of your students are going to be pretty proficient with it in the younger grades, but they're going to know it by the end of this 8th grade year that we have. And that's what you need in college. So we have seen this play out. We've seen students be very equipped. File management is one. A lot of people, a lot of adults struggle with file management. Well, we teach that from the very beginning, kids how to save, how to name, and how to be able to find that work that they've been looking for. I mean, that's just one of those basic skills that pretty much everyone needs, will have, as well as graphic design. In today's world, who doesn't need to know some graphic design? And we will have that from the basics to even more complex ideas of how to change and manipulate graphics and create your own graphics, create your own stop motion videos, create your own screencasting how-tos, all of that, right? Kids today are wanting to share on YouTube on the world. Look at me, look what I've done. Let me tell you my knowledge. And these kids will be able to do that efficiently with it. So I feel like that's a very useful for colleges and future work life. We want to say that we are life ready and work ready in all of our curriculum. That is really important to us that we have. So no, our curriculum is not just a professional development curriculum, but it is, with an online program. So your students and your teachers will be able to go to one of our bases that we have, download the curriculum, and it can be on their iPad, on their device, on their computer, and be able to work through all the steps of the curriculum. So it's not an actual log in online. You will be downloading it to your devices as teachers, that we will do through our professional development training, how exactly to do that. But you can also print out our curriculum. So, some schools, the teachers really prefer to have a printout of it, which is fine to me. I don't quite understand it because you're not able to live click on the pages at that point in time. But I do know as a teacher, sometimes it's nice to be able to take notes and to have that there with them. So, so it's actual curriculum as well as professional development that we have. So I think I've hit most of those questions, but if anything that we've said spurs more questions regarding professional development or curriculum, I would love to answer those for you. I think that pretty much covers it.
Very good, Laura Lynn. Very good overview of the process, the model. Again, we have a unique way of developing curriculum that we fine tuned over time. We do envision a software as a service version down the road, working towards that. But right now, it's a real simple implementation model. The curriculum is the hub, and I should. Laura Lynn touched on this, but the curriculum can be taught by a specialist, like a computer teacher
Mm-hmm.
or an on-site technology coordinator, or it could be taught by a classroom teacher, depending how it's delivered. The professional development involved changes. If it's a computer teacher,
Mm-hmm.
we just empower them to deliver this, and if it's the classroom teacher, sometimes they need a little more training because they're not experts in a lot of this stuff, but we'd have to figure out which model works best for you. Maybe it's both models. We'll have to figure that out. And we cover a lot in our curriculum. And yeah, we are preparing students for the real world. Everything we do is based around a scope and sequence, so we do have that document available. But our integration projects gives us the ability to do other stuff more advanced, more specific to an individual school or group of schools. There's lots of ways to go with our pre-made stuff and our custom stuff, and training on everything. Um, if you do have the computer teacher model, that's great. We could support those people. We keep on talking about PD. There would be a point in time where we just need them for a couple days, 2 or 3 days, and to really drill down into the lesson plans, to understand the methodology, the flow. Once there's a rhythm, it's very simple. If we're going to be doing your classroom teachers, we'd have to figure out how to do that as well. But yeah, either way, we can handle that. Let's see, integration. As I mentioned, these are custom lessons, all based around the research ideas given to us by your staff or yourself. and we align it to your standards, your ESLers,
Mhm.
in any direction that you're trying to go with that. As I mentioned, our goal is to do 4 projects per year per grade. We haven't really addressed high school, but we do take this to the next level in high school. We find that our curriculum, your eighth graders through this process will know more than most of your high schools in the area. That's what we have noticed. But if your high schools don't have a strong technology program, we do have some advanced modules to get them up to speed. We're assuming you're handling all hardware and software. And yes, a project manager is pretty important for this program, someone to liaison and get things done. Um, so we didn't really get into, logistics. There's a couple ways we're talking about doing this. With some of our other international schools, it's all virtual training, virtual support. Everything's digitally produced. We had one school that wanted us to send them a binder, which we did. So that's all possible. But with modern technology, there's no reason we can't use digital tools. However, if and when there's a time when we need to have boots on the street, we will incur some travel costs, which we usually pass on to the client. We I don't have any idea of the costs involved with your country as of yet, so there's a big asterisk there because we'd have to figure that out. But at the end of the day, the goal is to really make sure this works efficiently. And I will touch on marketing support because this is something that a lot of schools we work with don't really have a grasp on. We're a marketing driven organization. We could partner with you on getting the word out. If it's internal marketing, external marketing, I'm not sure how you generate enrollment, but we can help and get involved in that. So that's pretty much everything we wanted to share with you. Laurelyn, Dean, do you want to recap anything or make a comment before I end the recording?
Yeah, I would like to just say one thing that Ernie touched on with the personalization. So, those integration projects we can definitely do. So if you've got on your scope and sequence and your standards that you need to be met, we can easily come in and adapt and write those for you. So part of it is that you guys will have a personal coach working with you all the way. We like to say that we're the guide on the side, not necessarily just the sage on the stage. We want to make you guys the heroes and equip your teachers to eventually be the creators. But at the beginning, we're here to walk alongside you to create those. And that's where those integration projects are really key. And especially with your guys' school system. So I think that could be neat.
Awesome. Well, very good. Dean Cornelius, thanks for making this meeting happen. We're open to any questions, comments, concerns you might have. Let Dean know. He'll bring them to us. And I guess that's it for now. So thank you for your time. Sorry we didn't connect this morning, but obviously with the time difference, there's bound to be something that comes up from time to time. But I'm glad we're able to do this video at least. Bye for now. We'll talk soon. And recording, I believe, is shutting down. Hold on. Stop recording. There it is.